And we're live. Welcome, Sunday to the post show After the Grove. The post show for the incredible, awesome audio drama from Firma Media, airing on milehighradio.com. This is the Hollow9ine Network live show with creator Drew Carson.
Hello.
Yes! And I'm Dave the Klone. Welcome to the show, and joining us right at the top, this is almost like one of those special styled after shows.
Special, yeah.
Where like where there's like one of the stars is already on the couch when the cameras are rolling. Because you know what? He opened the show in such a magnanimous way that we could not celebrate it by having him be the first guest on the show today. So everybody welcome Mr. Jenna Roberts, the chief fleet of Orchid Grove. How's it going, man?
I'm good. Forgot his lines again.
I know, seriously, line. This is where you say hi.
Line.
So we tell everybody that you're on the show and that you understand what that entails. And we start to go over what it's like what that experience is like. You know, I want you to tell us about, since this is the second time we've seen you since the premiere, or since we've come back from the break. Tell us a little bit about how the journey of being Chief Fleet has been going for you, especially tell us a little bit about the way that open came together. There were some like me out there who were almost like when the Sopranos finale aired, we're like, wait, did they just really fuck up like that? Like what just happened? And then all of a sudden it was like, no, hey, that's actually part of this whole setup. Tell us how that came about.
Well, I'm a sucker for a bit. So so Drew emailed me and said, hey, can you do an opening? I heard like other people do openings like, this is Orchid Grove population. I'm like, yeah, I guess I could do that, but what if I did this? He was like, yes, do this. So it was just like off the cuff, like, yeah, sure, let's have some fun with it. So now, I like being different.
Drew, did you tell us to do the read in the voice of our characters, or was that something that one of us did first and then we all just started following suit? I kind of feel like I can't remember for some reason.
I think I may have suggested that to Tanya to do it as Cara Shaw, but I don't remember if I did it with everyone else, which is probably where that didn't stay going.
And then we all heard the first one. We're like, all right, I guess that's how we do this. All right, so I'll do mine. And then it was like, and that's what I think I love about stuff like that too, is when you have that moment of like, you know what, I have an idea. Let's just see if this flies. You know, if not, he'll always just, you know, email me and tell me to redo it the way he wants me to do it. So that's cool, man. And it's cool that everybody had sort of distinct ways of making theirs unique so far. So let's see. I'm sure we'll be able to give TW a little bit of a grilling about what we can expect for next episode when he joins us. But anything from listening to today's episode? Did you listen for the hour before and listen to a couple of the other episodes leading into this one?
I haven't been able to listen for the past few weekends, but I was able to listen to this past episode, which was really cool. I mean, I really like effects and stuff, so it was really interesting to see like the background effects and how it all fit together, especially with everybody recording just on their own and just on their own lines, like fitting everything together. It sounded really great. So I definitely want to say that. And the continuing storyline is obviously weird and interesting, and next week should be really cool to hear. I'm actually kind of excited for that.
Yeah, I feel like I didn't have as much of appreciation for lines like the lights attacked him when I was just reading it in the script. And now that I'm hearing it, that is one of the pieces, the sort of verging into mystery territories. Like there's a lot of overt mystery, obviously, and I think with these kinds of crime dramas, that's the sort of based in reality mystery. And then as soon as there's things that are popping up that could be on the verge of horror, you start to wonder, like, okay, are we going into a supernatural territory here? Are we crossing that apex where it's going to suddenly be more Twin Peaks than Smallville? Well, I guess Smallville's a bad analogy.
That's true.
There is no sex cults.
Yeah,
one thing that I really enjoy about the series as a whole is the supernatural, or like the weird stuff happening is good, but the little moments, the character interactions. One thing I really liked was in like, I think the first episode where my character was just going into the station and interacting with the deputy and Mary Beth, and how those relationships grow and change. And I always really like those parts. Guess that those are some of my favorite moments in the series so far.
And I like too how it's only over a couple days, right? Like, isn't this over like a week or two, or is that even too long?
Yeah, I think it's about 4 days. It's over. Season 1. Yeah.
It's like, it feels like there's so much going on, and that doesn't sound like a lot of time, but it's enough time for all of this to be happening. For anybody, I mean, I've always had a strange fascination with places that could be described as like a Twin Peaks type town, and how it would be awesome. Like, I kind of feel like I drive through them every now and then, like in the summertime, like finding new places to go on vacation, or like, you know, down in Pennsylvania when I go tubing down to Delaware, there's areas that feel a little like small town, and I always wonder, all right, which one of the houses is where like the family that's connected to like demons or something lives? like which one of these city official buildings is where they do like the cult meetings for whatever weird deity they worship down here or something? And it feels like by being a part of this project, we at least get to live a little bit of that sort of being one of these quirky characters in a town like that. Drew, for you listening to today's episode, and especially since we've got Janner here, anything about anything that happened with Chief Fleet that sort of is coming together and in ways that you were hoping, or maybe differently than you expected, better, I would hope, is the sort of way that went?
I like the chemistry between Chief Fleet and Samson's FBI character. I was worried how that would play off, because they have very few lines together, but it's a big thing that's going to take place in season 2. They're a major component of that. So I'm happy that the chemistry's there. I think it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds with, obviously, as you hear in these episodes, the FBI agent Bryant wants to take over an investigation, and the chief's not particularly happy about that. So it'll be interesting to see how that evolves.
Isn't that always the way when the government starts to get involved in local politics? I mean, crime that quickly becomes local politics.
I guess feel
that's
like
a special agent.
Yeah. I always feel like the government should stay out of politics, to be honest.
How does that work?
Especially local politics.
Would work for me.
And speaking of getting involved in local politics, how about the guy behind the guys running everything from the dark side of the moon here in Orchid Grove? Mr. T.W. Brown, the author, the man, the myth, voice from Tangent City, and Mr. South himself.
Oh, man, this was a fun episode to tune into today. I mean, this was perfect. I was doing my bike ride while I was listening to it, so it was motivational. And hearing you so befuddled was with all the Kara encounters was just that was my favorite part of this episode. I mean,
really? Thank you.
Oh yeah, listening to you sound like a love-struck schoolboy was just it was perfect. Well done. Good scene. Good.
The role he was born to play.
Yeah, well, I've been through a few of those awkward encounters in actual real life, so I just drew on some what they call inner resources as an actor, and I've got some.
By the way, next time you're driving around, before you take one of your road trips, watch the movie Race with the Devil, circa early 1970s. That'll make you look at everybody a different way. An old Peter Fonda, Loretta Swit flick with all these Satanists chasing them in their RV. Absolutely a blast. So, you know, they go through these small towns and everything goes bad fast. So that's what you need to not watch. That's what you need to watch on your next road trip. Just
really, if you go up to Maine, then you just knock on someone's house like, "Hey, who's the Satanist?" Johnson's over there. They just know. They keep their lawn cut, so we don't really care.
It was funny. I was trying to find a friend from college was having a house party over the summer. Oh my god. I have dogs barking today too. We've got Wild Kingdom over at TW's place, and I've got these little dogs. They're making a lot of noise, so they're just gonna have to chill out.
Junkie walking past the street, so it's all good.
Train spotting 3, terra firma. But and he lives in Pennsylvania, or at least he did at the time, and it was sort of getting to be more in the middle of nowhere Pennsylvania than I'd ever been before. And at one point, this is also before GPS, but with cell phones, it was like Nokia cell phone days, like the Nokia that everybody had. Yeah. And I wound up pulling over and deciding to knock on someone's door for directions. But I thought to myself, like, oh shit, what if they have a shotgun? What if people don't have people knocking on their doors here? What if that's like an oddity around here? And I was like, I should like stand back from the door. So I actually like stepped back down off the porch and had like my arms kind of up when they answered the door. And it was like a little old lady too. So it was like all these sort of perfect storms of stereotypes of what would happen in this situation if it was a movie lining up for me here. And I, was very quick to be like, I'm really sorry, ma'am. I am lost. I'm trying to find this address. Do you have any idea where that is or how I can get there from here? And she was like, oh, yeah, sure. And she told me how to go. And when I got to the party, everybody said that there's this thing on the news where there's actually like a killer had escaped from a prison nearby like that night. And so the idea of me like knocking on someone's door, if it would have been the wrong door, it would have been one of those shotgun to the face without even giving me a chance to like say who I was. So
you wouldn't have felt a thing most likely. So
yeah, great.
Man, you gotta watch out for those little old ladies in small towns. They'll fuck you up, man.
Well, they see lights, man, and they don't forget it. They watch the lights attack people. You know what I mean? Like, there is some shit going on in Orchid Grove. What do you guys make of not only the stuff that you're involved in, but when you hear the rest of the episode, some of the other plots going on around your characters? Is there one that sort of stands out as your favorite so far?
Well, I already mentioned my little fascination between you and Kara, so
yeah.
That is kind of what's got my attention now. I'm waiting to see, the direction that might unfold. I got an idea where mine ends up at the end of the season, so that's really the only one I know for sure where it is, because some of the other storylines I just glossed over and didn't really dig into. So yours was the scenes with Kara was one of the ones that caught me off guard because I glanced at it and I knew you guys interacted, but I didn't know on what level. So hearing it has now got my interest peaked. Definitely.
And it's funny because when I read the script for the first episode, which was before all the parts were completely cast, and I straight up was like, I want Dale South. And I didn't even think to ask like what is to come down the road for this season. I was just like, just send me the scripts when you have them. So I didn't even think, reading all the scripts leading up to it, that like me and Kara were gonna have some kind of romantic past. So when I started to see that, I'm like, oh fuck, he has to have like that layer going on too. I was like, shit, I was just gonna be that like spoiled college fucking entitled snowflake kid who's gonna inherit the crime dynasty in town. And instead it's like, nope. You are actually the devil boy and the devil girl of Orchid Grove, probably earned those nicknames together at the same time.
Pretty much.
Genre, anything outside of your storyline, or is it your storyline the one that kind of has you the most, has your attention the most?
Well, I mean, obviously, that my storyline has my attention because I mean, like I've said before, I purposefully only tried to read the scenes where I was involved. Not too much far out, just so I could get the character, but so I could be surprised. And really, anytime like I hear like the radio, like the guys from the radio, and I'm like, oh god, what's gonna happen now?
That whole saga is pretty awesome. Oh
no, what is he gonna say next?
Yeah, every time Jack calls in, it's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, I laugh out loud. I have to make sure I'm not drinking anything when those are on because it's just gonna be like what he called it. I don't even know. I can't even talk about it without laughing. But when he called in today, and even the last one, I think the last one I was rolling around because he's just like, yeah, and you're like, oh shit, it's him. You know what I mean? Like, how does the guy working the booth not recognize that that's him? Like, why are you walking into this, dude?
Listen, I didn't call you gay. That's different.
DK is awesome. I got to give him props for his part on this show. He really plays it to a T. He's made for stuff like this, and you should check out Cave Radio.
Straight, it's just.
Well, I think you know what. Not many people know this about him, and I don't want to speak for him, but I get the impression that to a degree that is him reading it straight. You know what I mean? Like if you ever check out Cave Crew Radio and some of the cool stuff they do over there, he brings a little bit of his persona from his other activities into it, and I think that's what makes it awesome and perfect for him. And it definitely works in the mix here. Even too, like when he was interacting with the kids in the last episode, you know, you're just like, or was it 2 episodes ago when he's like, he's like, you know, he's a pedophile, right? I'm like, I kind of feel like I get PMs from him that say shit like that. You know what I mean? So I was just like, oh yeah, there's a little bit of DK in this part. Was that intentional from the get-go with his casting, Drew, or is that something that kind of started to happen as he was cast?
Uncle Jack was going to be played by quite a famous kind of C-list actor that was doing me a favor and then couldn't do it. It was originally written to be a bit more like Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, no shit. Is that supposed to be any kind of hint as to who it was supposed to be playing?
No, it wasn't that level of actor.
We got someone on loan from Carpenter.
But so when I was thinking who could replace him, and then I saw Ken had messaged me saying he's always wanted to do radio drama type stuff, and I thought, well, I'll give you a role, but I'll write it to be basically my interpretation of what you're like.
Nice. So we are onto something with him being so similar.
You know, that brings up a question for Drew. Now that you've had your first season and you've got all of us sort of under your thumb, how much is knowing each of us and working with us influencing what you're writing for season 2?
Now that I know
Good question.
Yeah, now that I know what people can bring to the table, there's definitely going to be more dramatic elements introduced for a lot of the characters in season 2. Some characters might disappear in season 2.
Well, I'm glad to have been a part of Ryan.
Nice knowing you guys.
I wish you all the best of luck.
Sometimes them's the breaks, man. You just got to be ready for it. It's like instantly this just became Lost. Everyone's like, dude, I'm buying a house here in Hawaii. Am I still on the show or what? Like, I'm about to put money down like today. What's going on?
Here's an exclusive for next week. There is a character who is talked about next week who is definitely not coming back for season 2.
Oh, wow. Talked about or who speaks for the last time?
Talked about. Spoke for the last time in episode 5.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Start placing your bets, guys. You have a week till it finds out. Let's get the Deadpool going on this. You can do that either at milehighradio.com or at Firma TV's YouTube page somewhere. Something the Orchid Grove Facebook page, maybe. We can have people putting in their bets and see who's not going to make it. But now it did definitely become Lost because that was sort of one of the hallmarks of the recent renaissance of serialized drama was, oh, shit, which characters are going to die? Who's going to make it? It was always like... that was a big part of what drew people to keep coming back in. And then I think maybe it got a little overplayed. So I kind of like that we've had the 5 episodes so far to kind of like, you know, get to know some of these characters. There was the one character, my hitman who got taken out delivering the message that I absolutely loved his death. I totally was picturing the way that lawyer got stabbed to death on Breaking Bad in the prison in the 2-minute 10 murder montage. But for the most part, yeah, a lot of the characters show up and stick around. Now, is that something that you find is a little bit necessitated by this format that we're working in here with Orchid Grove and Tangent City and stuff like that?
I think the premise of the show requires people to basically snuff it on a regular basis. But that doesn't mean that that person might not then come back in some way or form. So there's multiple layers to what's going on in the show. But there will be at least 5 deaths in season 2.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So how far out are you? You have season 2 sort of mapped out in your mind. Do you have any seasons beyond season 2 in your mind right now?
Season 2 and 3 completely planned out. There's an option for a season 4.
And for any investors out there are thinking about things, there's an option for season 4. I love it. Well, we have a few other folks who are going to join us today, but it seems like we're having a little bit of technical difficulty getting on. So until that resolves itself from our other folks' end, it's just going to be the 4 of us guys. So more champagne and caviar for us to split up here.
Clearly.
Is there anything that when you guys heard in your performances, or Drew, when you listened to the episodes when they air, that stuck out to you as things that are like definitely going to affect how you move forward? And not necessarily, I don't want to say mistakes, but things that maybe you think about if you had known things then that you do now, or you had the same comfortability with your character then that you do have now, that you think you might have wanted to do differently, or that you might want to think about doing differently going forward?
I can go first. I think for me, one of the things that I heard as far as on the technical side from my end is listening to the recording across the board. I know that my levels are going to come down in my booth a little bit because I thought it was a little bit hot in a couple of places. So there was some peaking going on that I'm going to clear out because I want Drew's production to be as tight as possible, and I don't want him to have to tweak around trying to get mine to fit in with everybody else's. So bringing mine down a little bit is one thing. But as far as character-wise, I'm kind of happy with the deadpan, sort of constantly sarcastic tone that I've managed to hone over 52 years of my life to become a feature part of my character's personality. And not for nothing, but I get to be a very similar sort over on Tangent City. So I don't have to really dig deep. Now, whatever I get cast in next, I'm going to try to go like a totally different direction. But I'm really comfortable where I'm at right now with sound-wise. The scenes that I've had with you, Dave, have come across, in my opinion, have come across well. I like the interaction. The fact that Drew can take all these random people from, all over the world and, whatever version of recording they do, and then put them together and then add sound and make this become such a complete piece. I thought this stuff had all died. I had old cassettes when I was a kid of the old radio dramas. And so I think I'm influenced by a lot of that stuff, like the Dark Shadow and stuff like that, and trying to make sure that the voice I use is one that is clear and holds the ominous sound, so that that's the bad guy talking. And I think that's the direction I like to go, and that's the direction I want to stay. But that's kind of going forward for however long I may survive, considering 5 people die next year.
And you've been pissing me off quite a bit, man. my character's ready to fucking fight back. It's definitely we finally have Mr. Blaine Kerr has joined the show, folks. New talent on the couch. Blaine, how are you?
About freaking pissed off at my freaking internet provider and my phone. How about you?
This is how we start all of our sponsored spots, by the way. You pissed off at the competition? This is why you don't use them. Use these guys over here.
This is why we drink.
One of the reasons, yes.
So in the midst of your chaos, were you able to listen to today's episode and the episodes leading up to it?
I actually got to listen to probably about the last 15 minutes of it, I believe it was. And I've got to admit, in all honesty, I totally forgot that I was in this episode. And when all of a sudden my voice popped on, I just went, whoa, what? What's going on here? So for some reason, I just had it in my head. I was completely out of this episode and was supposed to show up in 6. And I think I did actually miss the very last little bit as I was trying to get into my driveway to get onto this call.
Man, yeah, it's right down to the wire. Everyone, this is Halo, by the way, one of the studio dogs here at the Hollow9ine Network. This is one of the ones making all the noise in the background. Oh, Hopefully that just shot the cuteness factor of the show up a little bit if any chicks are watching. Yeah, now I think is there something that is a little bit different about the way you experience the episode when you don't know that your part's coming up like that? Like, was it in your mind, do you think it'd be better if you didn't know exactly where it was going to be all the time and it was just sort of surprise? Like, that's kind of how Tangent City works a little bit sometimes. I'm just trying to see if that affected your ability to, listen to your part as less, okay, I'm going to critique myself as an actor, and more as, oh, crap, there I am, and this is just a part of the show. You know what I mean?
No, I totally get what you're saying. And honestly, I guess because it was such a surprise, I hadn't really been thinking about it so much, because I do have a tendency to overthink myself in anticipation of what it's going to sound like and just not knowing how things are pieced together. So when it came up, I literally just kind of like shook my head and was like, oh, crap, I'm in this? Wait a minute. I don't remember anything about this scene whatsoever. And then as it went on, I guess kind of like what you were saying, yeah, it was just being able to listen to it without overthinking it too much.
Yeah. I mean, it's for us, when we were watching movies and TV shows to podcast about them, we had nothing to do with being a part of that project. We're totally from the outside, but this is kind of something that we're able to both be inside and outside of. And sometimes especially when you're not driving the bus, and you're just kind of putting your pieces out there and saying, all right, I can't wait to get the package when it's ready. I'll see this at Christmas time or whatever, whenever you've got it all wrapped up for me. It's a little bit of a different experience, because it's hard to not be thinking, for me anyway, it's hard to not also think when I'm hearing the parts like, oh yeah, that was the day it was like really, really hot in the booth when I was recording, or like I was like holding back a burp during that whole read, but that was the one that somehow came out the best. You know what I mean? And it's just crazy how like there's a lot going on. Even though this doesn't have the whole component of picture, it's all radio shows, there's still a lot of these sort of elements of the timing and the environment coming into play as we're creating the pieces to give to Drew to build it with. Does that happen to anyone else?
I have my recording space has a window, and thankfully I was able to record this stuff like before the summer, and I had an air conditioner in. But you can still hear. Like, I could still hear, like, cars passing and stuff, and I was like, that was a really good take. What are you doing? I have to do it again. Oh, man. So, but yeah, that definitely affected kind of, like, the quiet desperation of Chief Fleet sometimes.
What about...
Yeah, hey.
Is there anything that affects the writing process in that same way, Drew? I mean, other than hearing us give you back the pieces and sort of allowing that to maybe adjust what you guys do or what you're doing or thinking for the way we deliver dialogue. But is there anything about like these external factors that affect the writing process that may have shifted the way you took some things in certain times?
I definitely edited out some lines that got sent to me to kind of make some scenes a bit shorter. But other than that, not particularly. I wrote it like 6 months ago, and it's just one of those, it's like trying to piece it all together. It's the longest 4 days ever. So it took 6 months to come together.
Well, I mean, 24 has got the longest day ever beat, right? For any, any show. But now that you're in the midst of writing season 2 now, or is season 2 mostly written already? Or
season 2 is completely storyboarded out, basically. So it's just a matter of writing it. I'll probably write the whole of season 2 over about 2 weeks maximum.
Now, is it? I guess, do you feel like this time you have a little bit more of a path carved for yourself? What do you anticipate being different about being able to write this season as opposed to feeling your way through season 1?
At this point, I have a little bit more of an insight into how you write for radio as opposed to writing for film, which is what I'm used to. I actually find the radio writing process easier, you can tell a much bigger story with no budget, which is always good. So it's for season 2. The differences for season 2 for some behind the scenes information is every episode will get sent out at the one time, rather than you getting script 1 and 2, and then a month later you get script 3.
I'm familiar with that territory.
And every episode will be edited before they go to air, so we don't need to have mid-season breaks.
That too.
That's just crazy talk.
Yeah, it's crazy talk.
That kind of prep is impossible. Well, as far as the guys on the couch, are there any burning questions you have for Drew or for each other, either about your characters or about the way you approach creating the character and performing the character? Is there anything that comes to mind that you guys want to ask each other?
I want to ask you who you want to kill next.
Who I want to kill next? We haven't heard me kill anybody yet, right?
Yes, we haven't, but I think it's a matter of time. You can't well forever. So who are you trying to off? Who do you want to off?
After hearing I guess it was this episode, or it was actually last episode, that You Think You Matter, that whole conversation with Cole's character, I'm like, dude, if I don't kill that guy, I'll be pretty pissed off, because that was a full-on, but it was also very much, and it's funny because I decried this character a lot on the show, but if anyone out there is watching 13 Reasons Why on Netflix, the character who's sort of like the entitled rich boy, the bad guy, the villain of the show, the rapist, his attitude is a little, just in case you didn't know what that show was about. I kind of am borrowing a little bit of what he's doing to kind of play out the spoiled brat side of Dale, and I feel like that scene is when it was at its max, and it was so directed at that character, and it seems like it's for a show like this, it's got that Game of Thrones feel to it, because it's like, hey, yo, you think you matter more? And even I like that his other henchman was like, you think you matter more to the boss than his own son? And it's like, yeah, dude, that's ridiculous. Don't you watch Deadliest Catch? You know, no one else is getting those boats except for the sons of captains working on those boats, man. You don't just expect to be handed someone else's legacy. So that guy I would feel really good about killing, and I would want to do something in the scene where I'm killing them that kind of is a little bit different. Like in the diner scene, when I was eating with my mouth full, I actually was eating a breakfast sandwich while I was doing that scene. So that, like, when I bit into that, it was like, because I made the bacon really crispy and the toast really well done, so that it would have like a sharp crisp to it. So I would hope that there's some way I could do that level of like adding a sound effect, but to the dialogue as it's being spoken, and give it like a hardcore, real edge to it.
Nice. Nobody else?
I know, right?
I don't want to interrupt anybody.
Actually, I'm kind of curious as to whether or not.
All right.
Didn't Jared say he didn't want to interrupt somebody?
All right, it's been good. It's been fun, everybody.
Oh, wow. Jared, you go first, and then Blaine, you'll go next. Oh, no, he actually left. That's good.
No.
That's good, Blaine. Good work.
Honestly, the first thing is I'm glad that the readings I had were good, because this is like the second audio drama that I've been in, so it's really cool to know that I did a good thing. But I wanted to ask, did my performance have any effect on the character going forward, like in season 2? Like, if you had any ideas for the character that changed since I was for Chief Fleet, since I was doing.
Am I gonna live or am I gonna die? What's going on here?
No, I'm gonna live forever. What are you talking about? Chief Fleet is gonna be at the end of a whole series, looking across the crater of what used to be Orchid Grove, saying, "Well,
I knew that was going to happen."
Fleet is going to get the spin-off. It's going to be like the Joey to Orchid Grove.
But it's just going to be called Fleet. All right, Blaine, what's up?
Oh, not a whole lot. But actually, that was something that I was thinking about when you brought up the question. Was Chief Fleet, to me, thus far, seems kind of like he's reaching a little bit of a breaking point with trying to be the good guy. So I'm wondering if Genre thinks that's really the situation, or he's just having to play frustration level.
Is that for me or for?
For
you.
first.
Okay.
Then Drew will comment after about whether or not you're right.
Really, I tried to play Chief Fleet with this just just bubbling anger under the surface. Just he's just dejected, but he still feels like he should be doing something, but he can't, so he just gave up. So I was playing it as at some point he just breaks, and I don't know what that's gonna look like. But I don't know if that's what you had in mind, Drew. But
yeah, Chief Fleet has a very dark past, which I think was episode 3, maybe they go into, where he talks about how he accidentally killed someone, and the South covered it up for him. So that's what they have over him. So that's what he. So a part of Chief Fleet's story is going forward. Spoilers that aren't really spoilers because it's obvious. Is he's going to try and find that evidence.
Oh, wow, to get it back from the South so that he's no longer under their thumb. Yeah, man. See, that's the whole key. And for the Souths, I mean, especially for you, TW, like when you think about how he's pretty comfortable in his grasp on power. You know, we don't see him flustered. We don't see him faltering at all. He's just very boom, this is what's happening. Don't speak back to me. Beats his own kid in front of people. Whereas Dale is still the one that has the wobbly legs every now and then. Is there anything in your mind about since you start from there, most stories have some kind of turbulence for the character along their arc, and if you start with all this power, you're going to have to lose it, or at least have it be threatened at some point, right? I would think.
I do feel that a threat has to come, and I'm sort of hoping that my confidence doesn't become overconfidence, because that's a quick way to have the tables turned around. So he doesn't strike me as stupid. I mean, if he's gotten to this point and he's held on to it for as long as he apparently has, he knows how to manage a crisis. And I think all that's going to happen is, if he gets, backed into a corner, I think that's where you'll see the body count go up.
Nice. Let the bodies hit the floor.
No, there it is.
He doesn't kill out of desire. It's more out of necessity and protection. So, he's got to keep his legacy intact, and the way to do that occasionally means removing a piece from the table. And if Chief Fleet is under his thumb and tries to get out from underneath it and tries to go Vic Mackey on him, then it's time to bring out big guns, and there's probably going to be a down point for him coming up, where he gets taken down a rung, but he'll just climb back up too, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like probably for Dale South as well, I always feel like that the characters that start out in that power position, some of them are going to have to definitely die by the end of the whole story, but a big part of the challenge for them will be the moments where they suddenly lose the power that they've just been enjoying and got complacent in enjoying. And part of the thing that lets them get beaten or lose that power is the complacency. Yes. And it's not, I don't necessarily know that I feel like Dale's got as much complacency as he has not as much interest or understanding as his father has in the way that some of the business works. And I think with Kara coming back, he's going to be a little distracted from that. So I feel like this is for him where he's going to start faltering away, from what I can tell. Yeah. And what about as far as Joe, are you still recovering from almost dying from like being stabbed or shot or whatever happened to you? Blaine's character, what was your character's name? Joe or John? Or James? James. It's like it starts with a J, and it's the one I haven't guessed yet.
Well, as far as I can imagine, just as far as the timeline that we're working with and all, I'm probably still a little bit bandaged up and a bit of a freak to look at walking around. So I'm sure I'm getting a lot of side eye from people. I'm sure that people are intentionally not looking at me, but that also seems to be exactly what my character is supposed to be anyhow, that he's kind of avoided in the town.
Yeah, like the town sort of like weirdo, I guess, in some ways, like the Boo Radley of the town. But then your character has this moment where he just shows up at Kara's doorstep and is like, look, leave after the funeral. You know what I mean? It's just like, holy crap, dude. Like, do you have a relationship with her where you would even be able to say this normally without it being suspect? You know, like, it's just kind of like,
it's my best friend's daughter. I'm just looking out for her.
Yeah.
But it had such a sinister tone, man. It definitely. Well, was that more of what you had in mind, that he has to be sinister, or does he actually, is he trying to protect her and get her out of town? And neither one of you.
I think he's trying to protect her by leveraging the fact that she knows James is her father's best friend that is still there. And hoping, I guess, against everything, considering what came out of the first couple episodes with the Souths being worried about it and all, that maybe that little bit of emotion, or if he tries to be heavy-handed with her to some degree, that will give her the impetus to heed his words a little more closely.
Yeah. Yeah, he's trying to protect her, but he's also, at the end of the day, he's also trying to protect himself, because he knows if he doesn't get her out of town, he's got to face up to Todd's character, basically.
Yeah, it's bad.
The character of James has got one of the best story arcs, in my opinion, over the entire run of the series. So that's one of the ones I'm looking forward to exploring as season 2 gets underway.
Nice. So I guess as I don't know if anyone else is going to join us today, so we're kind of getting to the point where we should probably start wrapping it up here. Do you guys have anything that you want to ask the creator about for either the finale or that you want to talk about that you're looking forward to for next episode without giving the whole thing away? And Blaine, since you joined us last and you're all the way at the end of the row on my screen, why don't you go first?
Well, I guess the one thing I'm curious about is how we're ending after the editing and everything is done, because I'm still thinking there's something strange that my character is being built into. So going into season 2, shall I downplay some of the sinister, as Dave put it, or what would be any advice you'd be willing to share, or we could always take this off camera?
Oh, keep the viewers out there in the dark. Thanks for tuning into the behind the scenes show where we don't really tell you anything. You can hear us talking about it later when you're not around.
Well, Blaine, then beep, and then beep.
And you just see our faces going, what? What? What?
Is that all the chicken?
Oh yeah! What?
Green goes black. A dancing popcorn and soda go across. And then it comes back to us. Yeah.
Exactly.
I know Drew was going to say something, and we just made that not happen. We protected him from himself. All right. Who else has a question that we won't let Drew answer?
I don't. I think I've asked him what I want to ask him. I want to wait for next week because I don't want to say anything that will slip the wrong direction and give anything away, because I think the next episode is just going to be a blast to listen to.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the finale. Definitely is living up to the expectations of what a finale of a show like this should be, for sure, as far as twists, turns, who lives and who gets burned, stuff like that. Anybody else before we wrap up? Genre, you want your last word, man?
It's just gonna be wild. It's just gonna be wild.
Be there.
Be there on next Sunday, Orchid Grove.
Sunday.
There it is.
Grove on milehighradio.com. All right. Well, everybody, you know, one of the things we like to do with the Hollow9ine Network when we have people over is give them a chance to pimp their shit before we say goodbye and kick them out the door and tell them to get their own Uber home. So, Blaine, what's going on? You got anything you want to pimp to the good audience of both Hollow9ine, Mile High, Terra Firma, Orchid Grove? Tell us what's going on.
Let's see. Well, I guess obviously, appreciate you guys letting me have the opportunity to be here today. Appreciate both of you guys also allowing me to be involved in the projects that we're working on and all. And feel free to get in touch with me. Check out my podcast. It's Appalachian Pie. That's P-I, not P-I-E. And do me another small favor. I've got a big event coming up here in about another 3.5 weeks with the Asheville Comedy Festival, where this will be my 3rd year being there as part of the preferred media and all that jazz. So keep your eyes and ears open for any of the episodes that I get from the comedians that are there and have our little picnic table discussions.
Sweet. We'll have to keep our eyes and ears open for all that. Make sure to let everybody know where they can find that. Is there a website of some kind they could go to?
Easiest thing is going to be Facebook, but if you Google-ate Appalachian Pie, I promise you I'm going to be at least 8 of the top 10 results.
There you go. The other Appalachian shows can eat it. Genre. What about you, man? What have you got going on?
Well, I have a lot going on, but there are 2 things that I always like to talk about. The first one is my main show, Press Start to Continue, is a music podcast where I play video game remixes and nerdcore hip hop. If anybody is into extremely geeky music, then you can go to starttocontinue.com and check that out. The other thing is I am currently on the audio team for a fan project. If you like Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z, there is a fan project involving retelling that story in a movie form and with animatics on YouTube. So you can go to Dragon Ball Star Over, that's S-T-A-R, DragonBallStarOver.com and learn more about that.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Go Super Saiyan for us. All right. And Mr. Todd, what's going on, man? Tell us what you got going on. Pimp your shit.
Back into writing, working on book 4 of the new Dead series, which is promising to be the most violent issue to date. There's a lot of resolution that comes out of that episode. So those that have followed the new Dead series and know the feud between Evan Barry and Don Evans, it comes to a head in book 4, some nasty violence. And so I'm geared up for that kind of writing, which is hard for me to do when it's sunny and nice out. That's usually the kind of writing I like to do around October, November when it's gloomy. So we'll see if it plays out as well as I want it to. I'm going to probably have to just close the whole house up and drop all the blinds when I write and have, all the neighbors asking more questions.
There you go.
Other than that, getting closer to harvesting the first of the honey. So Hollow9ine is going to be having something to give away, and also I'm going to be sending some of the hard copy versions of my books to Hollow9ine for the 1-year anniversary as some giveaway stuff. So if you've been waiting for a reason to pick up a book, then that'll be your best shot to get it for the best price, which is probably free. And other than that, just check out authortwbrown.com and follow what's going on there, or just look me up on Amazon or Audible.
There you go. Yeah, man. It's like so much going on at the table. It's almost amazing we have time to do Orchid Grove and Tangent City and all that stuff. Drew, anything you want to close out with or pimp aside from this awesome audio drama that you put together?
If you want to find me on the internet, you write Scotsman Says Cunt, and I'm probably about 2 of the top 10 on that.
The rest is every other scene from Train Spotting.
The rest is every other Scotsman. Also, check out the Terra Firma Artists Union if you're an actor, musician, whatever. If you're in the creative arts industry, check us out. There's a lot of good people in there. A couple of arseholes, but there's arseholes in every group.
Can't get away from
I know it's the admins, but
Awesome, man. And of course, Hollow9 has always got crazy amounts of things going on over at hollow9.com. So we definitely want to thank Drew for letting us host this party on Sunday for him. And make sure you guys check out Sundays on milehighradio.com. That's MILEHIRADIO.com for the live airing of next week will be the finale of the season. I can't believe it's already come and gone like that. Like one season just kind of started and ended real quick. So everybody make sure to tune into that and then tune in again so we can hang out and talk about it. Yeah. Until the next one, guys, be good. And when you wind up in Orchid Grove, you better be fucking careful. Pick the right side of the diner to sit on and don't get in the crossfire there because it's pretty real. All right, guys. Peace out.
And this concludes our broadcast.